Hi everyone, welcome back to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. And this is your match review for Burnley 0, Everton 2. Another win for the Toffees, 4 in the last 4 and 4 wins in the last 4 away games also. First thing I really want to start with is just talking about how Sean Dyche has got this team playing purely from... I'm looking at here the ball possession, 38% of the ball again, not having too much of the ball and still being able to take those moments where of course... where we need to take them, and of course we had them there with beginning with Amadou Onana's goal. Really happy for him getting his first of the season in the league, purely because I think he's come in for a lot of criticism over the past year or so that he's been at Everton, and I think when he's been injured we've really missed him. So for him to rise above the defender there and get that goal, I was really pleased with him, and I think he will be one of the players that Sean Dyche can now look to build the team around, along with the likes of McNeil, Harrison, Patterson. We've got a nice young core there run through the team now, and I think Amadou Onana is definitely one of them, and I'm really happy that he got his goal. Then of course there was a big thing about who was going to play at centre back in this game. Of course, with Jared Branthwaite picking up his 5th yellow card in the match against Chelsea. And to be honest, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a bit apprehensive about Michael Keane coming back into the team. Of course, he hasn't had the most fantastic Everton career. I think we can all hold our hands up and say that. And I think he hasn't been as consistent as we'd have liked, hasn't defended as well as I think he thinks he can. But he came in last night, and honestly, I was so pleased with him. He seemed to be switched on. He seemed to pick the ball up in the right areas. He seemed to know when to, let the ball go over him, when to stop the ball, when to put a tackle in, and I was really happy with him. The one that really caught me off guard, and which none of us were expecting, was Ben Godfrey coming in at left back. It feels a bit like a bit of a throwback saying that, because of course when I started on the channel a couple of years ago, he was, under Ancelotti, probably the first choice left back there, whenever Luca Dean wasn't fit. So to see him come back into the left back position, I was a little bit worried about that at first, because he hasn't played a full match in so long, and I was wondering a little bit about where his career was actually going to go, whether he'd be staying at Everton, whether he was best off moving somewhere else, where his position actually was, because I think especially under Benitez and Lampard, he struggled a lot with keeping that consistency that he had when he come into the club under Ancelotti. And I think last night again, he did show that he is still an option for Sean Dyche on the subs bench, and I think he definitely put his best foot forward last night at Turf Moor. Obviously, we're going to talk about that interception that he made at 2-0 just before half time. I've seen people talking about how it's sort of his fault anyway that the attacker gets through, but to be honest, I mean, even if it is, the way he recovered and the way he managed to stick that past the post and it not even going into his own goal, his speed to get back, I was really impressed with him. And I seen a tweet actually talking about how important it is under Dyche now, and I mentioned it as well in the I think it was the Chelsea review video, it might have been the Burnley preview, I can't remember, where I was talking about how Sean Dyche is he's managed to make the team smaller, getting rid of players who are by all accounts dead wood, but having less players in the squad, he's still managed to sort of make it bigger in a way, keep the players that he will use and keep them involved in the team and give us more options coming off the bench. So now players like Dan Juma and Dobbin and Beto all waiting to come on, and Godfrey all coming, and Keane even coming into the team when we need them. I think that's something that we've been sorely missing out on for quite a few years, and I'm really happy with that. 9 total shots in the game for Everton against Burnley's 14. Again, Burnley did have a lot of the ball, they did have some chances, but on the whole I think we were just so clinical, and that's one of the things that you can say about Everton under Dyche, especially the last couple of months, being able to pick our moment in a football match and put the ball in the net. That's something that I'm just so happy with. And at 0-0, Everton are never out of the game, and that's something that we've we've missed a lot of. I think, from going from the days of Ancelotti or even Lampard as well, having the ball mainly at home under Ancelotti, but under Lampard it was all the way through. Having the ball, controlling the game but not scoring, and then being hit and being made to pay for it. The one game that actually sticks in my mind is the 1-0 defeat at home to Burnley during lockdown, when we did control the game in parts, but Dwight McNeil, of course, scored for Burnley that day, and that was under Dyche. And now, thankfully, we've become that team that we feared to play against, in the past few years. And I'm just really, really pleased with how it's going. I appreciate this video's a little bit off script. It's me just sort of giving my opinions on it. It's hardly really a match review. It's more me just talking about Everton at the moment. But I'm so pleased with the way those two players came in last night in defence. In a good defence as well, one that's been really tight this season, of course. And Jordan Pickford being able to keep all those clean sheets. He now leads the Premier League in terms of clean sheets. That's not all just on him as well. That's on players like James Tarkowski and Jared Branthwaite, who've been so solid in allowing him, to keep the ball out of Pickford's net. That's not just, of course, Jordan Pickford's a fantastic goalkeeper, but some of the credit there has to lie on the two central defenders. For them to come into a team that were playing so well, really pleased with the mindset from them, to be honest. And especially with Michael Keane, one of his attributes that we always talk about is how good he is at shooting, and he did that last night. He put his goal away really well, and really pleased for him. I won't lie, I was one of the people who doubted him going into the game, but to be honest, I think he did make me eat my words. I won't lie. A little bit of a change in system for Everton last night, with Dwight McNeil dropping into sort of the left-back role of a 5. I think that's one of the things, and I know Sean Dyche did mention it, about changing the way that we're playing for different personnel, and that is one of the things that I was so pleased with. He's quickly becoming one of, if not the best footballers at the club. Being able to drop into that deeper role and having 3 centre-backs last night really helped us, and he can definitely take some of the credit for that. And of course he was able to get forward as well and put a few good crosses in. Maybe could have had a goal in the first half with his header that just went past the post, but the other wing back as well, Nathan Patterson, I've got to say, I've been calling for him to be in the team for quite a while, and he definitely had one of his better games for Everton as well against Burnley. I'm really pleased with him. Jack Harrison moved into the centre in the second half, which I was calling for. Actually, we were talking a bit about Abdoulaye Doucouré on the channel recently, and about his sort of resurgence in the Everton team, and how he's putting his foot forward now to be considered a real top class midfielder. But we talked a little bit about what's going to be the future for us when he goes off to the AFCON in January with Mali, and I was talking about how I thought Jack Harrison could play that role in the centre. Granted, he plays it very different to Abdoulaye Doucouré, but I was pleased with how he did last night. I thought he played a very sensible match. He did the right things at the right time. Didn't do anything too amazing, but he didn't do anything bad either. So for that alone, I'm really pleased with Jack Harrison. And again, we'll probably talk about him until we're blue in the face on the channel for this season, but he's one that I think we should definitely be keeping hold of for next season as well. Lewis Dobbin got a bit more time on the pitch. He came on at half time yesterday. Obviously he got that massive goal against Chelsea, his first for the club in the league, and just I was pleased with him as well. For him to come on in a game like that, 2-0 up away from home against a team that are good on the ball, were sort of under the cosh a little bit at the moment. Burnley, I think everyone can agree with me on that. I don't think Vincent Kompany's time at the club so far has been, in the Premier League anyway, of course they were fantastic in the Championship, but the time in the Premier League has been a bit they've tried to keep playing that same way, and they've been struggling. But so in the second half last night, I was expecting them to have a real good go at it, which they did, and Lewis Dobbin coming on there, because obviously Abdoulaye Doucouré picking up a bit of a knock. I was really pleased with him, and again, we'll talk about him a bit more on the channel and what the future for Dan Juma is as well, now that Dobbin's coming into the team and, you know, playing a bit more of a better role in the first team under Sean Dyche, and of course Beto coming on again and making another cameo appearance. Thought he did well, could have had his goal towards the end, he got a bit unlucky there, but on the whole I think, you know, so far Beto's been a really solid option there to have off the bench. Would have liked to see a little bit more from Calvert-Lewin. I think you can argue maybe he could have put himself forward a little bit better, you know, but again, it's his role in the team in the past few games has been far more than just putting the ball in the net. He's been such a good player to lay the ball off, the balls that we try and play up to him to knock on for players like Doucouré and Harrison and McNeil have been so important, and I think, you know, he'll be one of those players where he will probably judge his season off his goals, but for me, I won't. I think his contribution has been amazing. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think Calvert-Lewin could have played a bit better? What do you expect from him for the rest of the season? Amadou Onana, what's the way forward with him now that he's picked up that goal in the league? Dwight McNeil, where's his best position? You know, can he carry on playing in that left back spot? How proud are you of Michael Keane coming in and getting that goal? Ben Godfrey, what's his future at the club? There's so many talking points now after that Burnley game, but another win for the Toffees. Let's get on to Fulham now on Tuesday, and yeah, let's try and get forward in the Carabao Cup. A real good feeling about the club at the moment, so yeah, let's just hope it continues as far as we can and enjoy it while it lasts. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.